today I wanted to talk about what it is to be a trade partner and how it works. It's something that I know you know inside out with your businesses. First of all, just to give a bit of an introduction about you, Michael's been working in China for nearly 10 years. You're originally from Switzerland, and you now have several businesses helping small and medium-sized companies enter into China. With Qingdao Alea e-commerce, you and your team support brands from everything from market entry to social media management and all the way through to, obviously, of course, the actual e-commerce operations. And as I know, you operate both traditional e-commerce and also cross-border e-commerce. So I thought it would be really great to have you on here today to give us a bit of an overview about what it's like to be a trade partner.
Yeah, well, it's awesome you're having me, and I'm very glad to share a bit of of some information and a bit of background. I think it's important that you really get into the topic if you want to come to China, and a channel like yours are the perfect thing to start, right? So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Great. So the first question really is, when a brand's thinking about entering into China, specifically through cross-border e-commerce, what are the main things? You know, a trade partner is actually a quite important part of that. So what are the main things that a cross-border e-commerce brand needs to think about?
Yes. So basically, the TP is, as it says, is a trade partner. The partner here is key, right? So just before saying anything more, if you come to China, you need to have a partner. You just can't do it by yourself. How these partners look like can be in different ways, So I mean, I know you are helping beauty brands, indie beauty brands to come to China, so you could be part of such a partner as well. And then just helping them to manage a bit more tightly, like the TPs like us, with more understanding. I had clients in this kind of a triangle set up before, and it actually works very well. It's very challenging, but it brings you forward much more. But like the TPs, what we do, you know, it's really helping the brand and assess if the products and the brand is the right fit for China. This is the first thing we do. And I see more and more TPs which are very selective with whom they take on board.
Yeah.
Because it's simple. Nobody wants to go into a relationship which you know already it will be
isn't going to work, right? Yeah.
So basically, we look at the digital market. We check what are the opportunities for your products, for your brands, and then basically make some research and give suggestions according to data. This is really one of the core competences in the very beginning, and then you take it from there. You know, it's however it goes, right? Some actually ask for a forecast. I know European companies they ask for a 5-year plan. I'm like, 5 years, okay. I don't know where I am
in China. That's like, yeah.
So
very difficult in China.
Yeah, we usually, I'm comfortable with the 18 months to 24 months forecast in the pitch phase. But later we do that on a yearly basis, just on months by months, because there's so much which can go wrong in terms of support, you know, from the brand and so on. So this is then the second, like a forecast, to give them an idea. Once we say, okay, it has a fit, what can you expect? And then the third is, okay, all these, how can we make it work? So basically then laying out the landing strategy, right? So this then includes the idea of how to approach within the marketplace, for example, is it JD or whatever. And on the other hand, what kind of external factors do you need, such as social media, and go there a bit more into details, like a landing campaign, maybe on Xiaohongshu, with seeding, with paid KOLs and so on, and then slowly bring the ball into the game and start rolling. This is really, this is really what the TP does, but it's a partner, and honesty and integrity is most important, I guess, because there are many TPs out there still, which actually, well, they are happy if you come along and then you pay for 1 year the service fee and it doesn't work. There are people which tell you we're going to sell 10 million in the first year, just come along, and so on and so forth. So honest feedback, helping them not to make mistakes they might do if they go alone or with the wrong partner.
Yeah, actually that makes me think about a client I had recently who we were looking for TPs, and the difference in in forecasts that got given between the different TPs was enormous. And of course, yes, that's something that brands really should look at, right? It's not necessarily the biggest number is the best. You really do need to, as you said, integrity and look at the quality of the plan, and you need to trust each other as well.
Yeah. What I've found out is that really, if you come along very well with the client, it's much easier to do business. I mean, this is something, it's obviously, right? It's logic, but it's not always happening because you don't see each other. People are busy. You maybe have some other stuff going on. So it's really important, I think. And in the end, what I do is, like in this forecast, for example, for the pitch, I give them numbers which they will look at, like say, oh, okay, that's not what we thought we will do. And I'm like, yes, because what you imagine and what will happen is anyway 2 pairs of shoes.
Different.
So from the very beginning, I put it there and I say, look, that's what I think is possible. If this doesn't meet your requirements, I'm very happy to say no to. So we don't need to work together. So this is really an approach I take. And it's, maybe they don't choose me, but people come back, you know, they're like, after a while, they go, oh, it's not going good, or how do you see things? And so
the first time they might choose someone with the biggest number, and then they'll come back to the more realistic one later. Yeah. And you know, if a brand is looking at cross-border e-commerce, obviously a trade partner is one option, and then another option is a distributor. So, I mean, from your perspective, what's the advantage of a trade partner, for example, over a distributor?
Actually, I wouldn't put it as a choice of A and B, because in different kind of business setups or stages of the business, you need to choose them. So if we're talking cross-border e-commerce, I see it personally as a market trial. You, especially as an indie beauty brand, you come to the market, you have not much idea. Your TP thinks he has an idea, or your partner thinks he has an idea, but nobody actually knows, right? That's all just a bit of research and so on and so forth. So cross-border e-commerce, you get your first-hand experience, you get real customer feedbacks, you know, you see, hey, do I have a problem with shelf life? If it was too long in the sun, does the taste change? All this kind of stuff, you know, because some things are just not stable, you know, they can change, like it's oily or it's this. So real feedback from customers who bought it. And then you can see, hey, the market response is pretty good. At the same time, you actually have to invest via cross-border e-commerce on your brand awareness. And choosing a TP or a distributor, both will let you pay for it as a brand. There's nobody who's going to invest on brand awareness from day zero for your brand, unless you have an exclusivity contract for 10 years, or I don't know, but no, nobody.
Very impossible in China, never.
Yes. So basically there's two things. You come with cross-border e-commerce to get real feedbacks and to spend money on your brand awareness via the cross-border e-commerce kind of start. I see that starting phase about 1 to 2 years. And once you created some traction, once you see, okay, this is getting interesting, okay, people like it, or oh, they didn't like it, You bring new products until you're at the place where you say, this is getting interesting. And then you have two choices. You either go for a distributor, you say, I'm going via the general trade model, or you even can say, oh, this looks even better than I thought. I'm going in myself, you know, and then you can make your own business plan. You pitch it to investors or your CEO, it doesn't matter. And you say, hey, might make sense if we go just directly by ourselves. So you skip the distributor all along. But if you choose the distributor, then there's some other benefits you have. And these really, I see that happening. You are at a different stage of negotiation. You've spent the money for brand activation. Right. You have the feedbacks and so on. So you're going in and you can start really to say, look, this, and this is what we think, what we would like you to do as a distributor. And they will look like, oh, they have a lot of things everywhere. You know, it's not something it's not hard work, you know, like, of course it's hard work, but they don't need to invest a lot of time. So you're at the better point of choosing the right distributor or choosing multiple distributors. At this point, you can then say, look, I don't go only with one, I go with several. If you do that in the very beginning, no distributor will even consider
take you.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Actually,
and the last thing is
equity.
The last thing is they actually even maybe just come to you. So I've also had via the e-commerce, they come, they chat, hey, I'm a distributor, I would like to operate your brand in China. So you get even leads, not even traveling there. So, and I always compare it like you go to fairs, searching distributors on a general trade model, spend $100,000, $200,000 for hotels, flights, follow-ups, and so on. You could just put that money into your cross-border e-commerce strategy, and you're 2 years or let's say 1 year in the game with the very same money, but the result is like a huge difference. You have so much experience already with a cross-border e-commerce approach. Obviously, the TPO, your partner, needs to be the right fit. Else, that's also a bit of wasted money. Of course, you always have that risk.
Okay, I think it's really interesting about the distributor at the different stage and being able to have that equity, you know, like by building your brand a bit before you go in, you have that leverage. Because I work with brands that are really quite popular outside China, but, you know, of course, they don't have the equity in China, and it means nothing. It doesn't matter how popular you are in the US or wherever. If you don't have, if people are not searching for you in China, then no one cares. So that's important.
I think in the cosmetics space, you can be a bit lucky if you have a social media momentum in the Western world. You might be lucky that some Chinese influencers actually are following these foreign influencers and like that. So, but yeah, an example, we do food a lot as well. In the food, it's a bit more difficult. You can't really have this kind of a line going back. But in fashion and cosmetics, I think this is also possible.
Yes, it's more established, that influencer route, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think then is the most important for an international small medium beauty brand to have in order to be successful in China? If you could think of like one or two things, what advice would you give?
I wouldn't even say for a beauty brand, because it's so general. It's the things everybody must have to be successful. And this is a customer fit of your products based on data, you know, and not feeling and not believing, because this was 90% what I see people approaching me are doing that. And I always think like we're the 20 to 30-year-old people from tier 1 cities.
Huge, so many people, right? Yeah.
So a real fit based on data. And if you don't have these data, okay, no, you need to have it. So the TP can help you, but I mean, if your product is unique or a bit different, you can't just say this is the same, right? Then you have to take educated guesses from the data you can take out, and then still come and get your valuable feedback on the market. This is the first. And the second is speed and agility. Like, we, as Europeans speaking now, Swiss, are very slow. The holiday season is just over. I think you've experienced it as well.
Yeah.
Nothing is going on during June, August, July to now. It's literally. And so you need to be fast, you know. And if we say we're going to start, we're going to start. And if you say you're going to give me material for the